it's a terrible feeling when your blood pressure drops. Anybody that has blood pressure problems, I mean, whether it's high, whether it's low, it's terrible. You definitely know when it drops. I've never passed out completely. Came so close to it. Came close to Greg calling the squad for me and all that good stuff. Scary. Learning that I need to put my feet up and have my head all the way to the ground. So, like on the couch, I'll have to have my feet propped up on something. And that's anywhere. I've had to do that at work. I've had to do that anytime. There was a time we were in a restaurant and it was back when we were coming back from one of our trips and it was late and I felt sick and stuff. I almost did that and Greg's like, they're going to end up calling the cops or something. I go, I don't care who they call, I feel like my blood pressure dropped, I can't help it. I hadn't been drinking. If they want to test me that I'm a drunk citizen or something, I haven't had alcohol in a while. And, I don't drink now because of the protocol I'm on, so it's been very, very, frustration process, and, of course, all this time when all that was going on, and all I knew was my blood pressure, and I got put on Florinef for water, like they thought I wasn't taking enough water, that I was dehydrated, wasn't drinking enough, so they upped my water, and all that good stuff. I'm like, man, I'm drinking too much. They had me on Gatorade, Powerade, and that stuff was just giving me headaches, more waking up in the morning, headaches, every day a headache. Headaches never went away. I was crying a lot. My head hurt. I had a lot of head pressure. It was extreme. Yeah. I could cry right now thinking about everything I've been through with all of that. So, anyway, stop tearing up. So anyway, moving on. So, there's probably tons of stuff I could talk about with the Lyme journey. Not knowing what it was, I was like, still don't know I have Lyme. So, moving on. So, January 4th, 2016 is when I was put on Zoloft. So yeah, this was terrible. I know Zoloft works for quite a few people, and you need it. That's great. If it helps you, take it. I'm not saying Zoloft's bad for you. I'm not recommending Zoloft either. Obviously, your health professional physician needs to prescribe it, and if that works for you. But anyway, so he put me on Zoloft because he thought it was anxiety and all this stuff. And I needed to get better. I didn't want to miss work. I was, it gets frustrating when you're using all your sick time. You can't miss work. You're afraid you're going to lose your job at this point. So he put me on Zoloft, and let's see. It was the third week in Zoloft, because they always say by the third week is when, you start feeling better. It was the third week I was on Zoloft. Because you gradually go up on Zoloft, and I forget what I ended up doing, but I gradually went up on Zoloft during those 3 weeks. And it was bad. At first when I got on Zoloft, I'm like, okay, maybe this is working. But like I said, through anybody that has Lyme, they know that you kind of go in remission, or you do something that helps you out, or I don't know, it comes and goes, and your symptoms go all over your body. So, don't ever think you're crazy that, your left side's weak and then maybe your right side's weak, or you have tingling on your right arm or your left arm, your back. Just different every day. And then a lot of the same stuff every day too. But with Zoloft, I got to the point the third week because I'm like, oh, maybe this stuff's working for me. It was going pretty good. Obviously I probably had some problems in there, and it was probably the same stuff, same problems, and mean, I can't really, I just thought, maybe it is anxiety. Like, at that point, I'm like, maybe I just need to listen to the doctor. Maybe he's right. It's anxiety. I don't know why it would be anxiety, but okay. And then, so what happened when I was on Zoloft, I got bad. I was so weak, I got to the point I couldn't walk. Oh my gosh, my balance was so bad. I was off for a short period of time. I had to miss work, had to do like I almost had to do an FMLA, but I had, luckily, didn't have to do a long one. What happened was, I was off during that time for maybe 4 days or so. Luckily my manager was really good and she worked with me. And, she was concerned. I mean, everybody was concerned. They're like, man, Carrie, she hardly misses work, which I did. I went to work feeling sick every day. I had to go with it. But I never missed work, and at this point, I couldn't function. So, Greg was working. I got to the point I did not feel safe being by myself. I had to have my mom come over when my blood pressure dropped low and felt sick and felt like I was dying. So, I ended up having to go with, be at my parents' house for a little bit, and that was, man. It was terrible. The weirdest thing that calms me is I like to rock. I know rocking is like soothing, it's pain reducing or something like that, and I don't know if that's why I like to rock. It makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel better. So I was sitting in the rocking chair, that's all I could really do was just rock a little bit, sit in the rocking chair, fall asleep in the rocking chair, couldn't move. When I did get up, I was crawling. Got to the point I was so weak. I literally had them bring in a 5-gallon bucket. And I left a room and I pulled out my pants and I went to the bathroom in a 5-gallon bucket. Barely. Right next to the chair. And then just got back in the chair. That's all I could do for that amount of time. It was so bad. Everything, my balance was so bad. I was so weak. I can't explain how weak I was. I was weak. All I knew was, I'm like, it has to be the Zoloft. I haven't been on the Zoloft very long, and it has to be the Zoloft. So I started looking things up online, and, people started saying they had the same thing happen to them. Well, sort of, in context, I guess. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a Zoloft. So it tells you never to go off Zoloft without gradually. So that's what I did. I started gradually going back down off of Zoloft. And that's what happened. I went back to work. But in that time frame, I was so weak when I was on Zoloft. My mom took me to the hospital because it just got bad and my doctor didn't have time to see me. So I went to the hospital. Oh man, this was the worst part. Went to the hospital and I told him I couldn't have caffeine. For some reason, I had a terrible headache. I was weak. They did all certain things and did a CAT scan or something, maybe of my brain then too. Everything checked out fine. Images of my brain and all that. They want to make sure I didn't have a tumor or nothing because, like I said, I was a lot of head problems. Lots of head problems. And So I told her I couldn't have caffeine. I went through what drugs and different stuff I was taking. Told her what I was on, Zoloft and stuff. And they gave me, for some reason, I don't know what the girl at the hospital wrote down in my charts, but I told her that I could not have caffeine. They gave me a drug, and they're like, here, this is going to make your heads better, and I even I was like, okay, good. I knew there was a drug for headaches, for migraines, that has caffeine in it. And they knew I couldn't have caffeine, so it must have been something else that they got at the time. I think I even told her, I can't have caffeine. I know they say caffeine's good, for headaches, but I can't have it. So, I don't know, between the line and either that girl leaving and another girl coming in and giving me the medication, overlooked that or something. Excuse me. But they gave me that medication, and then shortly after they injected me with that medication through the IV, was giving me fluids, I was freaking out. My head was hurting so much worse. I can't even explain how much worse. I was getting out of the bed. I'm like, I didn't know what was going on with me. I thought I was dying. My head was extremely hurting. My body got so much more weaker. I thought I was done. I thought, okay, this is it. I'm dead, My mom was with me, and she had the nurse come back. They loaded me up on Benadryl. And then that was kind of crazy, too, because I'm already, going crazy, trying to get out of the bed, trying to rip the IV out of me. Something I would never do, but I just felt so ill. They gave me something that was making me so much worse. Gave me Benadryl, and I was fighting the Benadryl. Benadryl makes you pass out. But I was fighting the Benadryl so hard. And my mom kept saying, and the nurses kept saying, relax, let it help you, let it. And I did. I ended up falling asleep. And mind you, during that time of Zoloft, and during all that time, I had insomnia, like you wouldn't believe. I could not sleep. Could not sleep. Tried to sleep. They even gave me, at the hospital at this time, they gave me Tylenol with codeine in it. But yeah, everything, like my blood pressure and different stuff, everything that at the hospital, that doctor in the hospital, stuff that he knew, when my doctor I go for my Lyme, when he saw his notes, he's like, right there, plain as day, that stuff. Excuse me, I guess my throat's dry or something. But that stuff, obviously, makes you worse. When you have Lyme, those drugs make you worse, and everything. My arm being weak, and my just as different stuff that I put in those hospital notes for that doctor, clues that I had Lyme disease that they just didn't recognize. So, moving on. So got better, went back to work. Still went to the doctor on March 22nd, 2016, June 28th, 2016. Obviously losing faith in my doctor. Yeah, the only thing that worked he put me on was, Xanax, right? Alprazolam or something. You only want to take that every once in a while, but man, that it was a relaxer. I give you that. I only took it every so often. I didn't want to get hooked to anything. And it was low dose. It was like 10 milligrams or something. I had to do that when I felt really uncomfortable, very weak and stuff. I just took that. It kind of let what it is a drug that makes your brain forget what's going on with your body. And tell you what, it's probably not a good drug for you because, yeah, it helped your brain relax and help you not worry about all the symptoms that are going on. So it kind of helped. But the symptoms were still there. But what it did to my brain, it made me think, in my mind, after taking it, after it kicked in, it made me feel like, but I'm okay. I still have these symptoms, but I'm good. I feel good. Maybe I felt high or something. I don't know. But anyway, so I felt good. So every time I went to the store, well, guess who had to take one of those when I went in the store? Because stores, the lights, everything just aggravated my symptoms even more. I had to be pushed around in a wheelchair. Everything else. Because come February 10th, 2017, I was off work from February 28th through April 11th.